Maybe it's my own fault. Maybe I led you to believe my highlights started on the podium and not in practice.
The legend Rosenberg is a 4-time champion of the world.
Maybe I made you think that every race I did, I won.
2 litres in the tank for legend Rosenberg, rounding for the final corner. Does the greatest to ever do it, but if he doesn't, Scots and David steals it at the yard of bricks.
Maybe it's my fault that you think I'm unbeatable. Maybe I led you to believe that championships were given to me and not something I worked for every single day. Maybe I destroyed the league, or maybe you're just making excuses. Maybe you can beat me. Come and try.
And a big good evening and welcome back to Formula Virtual Racing, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're live. It came up that the stream ended and I panicked, but we should be still live. A big good evening, folks, and welcome to Formula Virtual Racing. It is the penultimate round of Season 14, what has been a very up and down season. But this one should be a good one here at Silverstone. And tonight we might have our reigning champion dethroned. It is the night where Vestigobati might seal his Formula Virtual Racing fate and become champion for the first ever time. He has work to do though, because he's up against the fantastic legend Rosenberg, who is now a 6-time champion. Of course, here in Formula Virtual Racing, narrowly missed out on the Daytona 250 win 2 weeks ago. And there's a lot of work to do if the Dutchman wants to win this, because he doesn't think he's going to make the last race. So even if Vesta doesn't seal it tonight, the cards are certainly in his hands. But we will see, can a spanner be thrown into the works here in Silverstone? A circuit where Legend has not tasted too much FVR success in Avesta. Most certainly has. Luke Davies will be looking to try win his home Grand Prix as Williams embark on a Constructors' Championship endeavour. Their chances will be slightly hurt by the fact Yathan Panguru is not here tonight. But we join in the middle of qualifying, 10 minutes to go. Apologies for the delays in the live stream, folks, but look, you're really here for the last couple of laps in the race is what you want to see. So Legend Rosenberg in through Stowe, heading down towards the Vale chicane. He needs to beat Avesta tonight by a significant margin if he's not able to make the final race. And that, of course, will be decided. Legend has said he's not able to make the final race a few times before, and it's worked out all okay. 1:26.1 is the backer time to beat. Luke Davies is only 0.3 of a second behind that. These two, of course, didn't qualify in Singapore. They did a last first. They were given a swift told off. They were told off because, you know, height of disrespect and all that, but they are still both fabulous drivers, and we are waiting on Avesta to put in the time. Here's Juan Hernandez, currently one of 3 out on circuit, the other being Matthew Copsey, who's heading through turn number 1 now. Was in a fellow former Formula 1 hosting circuit in the former Brands Hatch today, was Matthew Copsey, and he is here in Silverstone tonight in the Kick Sauber. So rounding through the arena section on towards the Wellington Straight, second longest straight here in Silverstone, of course, third longest I should say, with the longest being the 770 metre hanger straight. Just flicks the wheel in and turns into the corner. It is a ridiculously, intriguing handling model on this game. But while we are looking on board with Matthew Copsey, well, let's run you through your championship standings. So as you can see on your screen, Before round number 9 tonight, Avestigabadi is leading by 2 points over Legend Rosenberg. Luke Davies then behind. Still in Matham. No, he's not. He's outside. So Luke can't win the championship, can't win his third world title. But he is in third, significantly ahead of Nathan Marriott in fourth. So third very much secured for Luke Davies, it seems. And then it is Dylan McClements who is in fifth position. So that is how it stands. Really, we're looking at the top two, the Red Bull and the Aston Martin. Here comes Copsey, heading for the final couple of corners. Last time we came to Silverstone, of course, Matthew Copsey took pole position, and he's put it on the front row, beats Luke Davies, so that wasn't a fluke. He's put himself ahead of Luke. Think of another rhyme to insert here, please. That is a very nice lap indeed by Matthew Copsey. Callum Birch, another British driver, looking to maybe shine at his home Grand Prix as he heads in towards turn 3 and 4. Decent run through there for Callum Birch. Hello to everyone watching at home. Hello to Liam, who reluctantly hate watches this championship probably. And hello to Julius Gassner as well, who had a strong running, led the most laps of anyone at the Daytona 250, as scary as that sounds. But yeah, Matthew Copsey actually saying that lap was on used tyres as well. So he's gone a 10th off Legend on a used set of softs as Callum Birch rides over the curbs. That's an invalidated time for Birch. Let's see what the Ukrainian is doing then on the Wellington Straight. Pulling up the left-hand side, weirdly enough, getting a nice point of attack in towards Luffield or Brooklands and the hairpin of Luffield. We don't talk about Daytona, says Julius. Understandable. Went down the drain, unfortunately. It was Cameron Hill, pardon me, who won in Daytona 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks ago? No, it was last week. Last Friday night. And he soared in that one on the last lap. And his FVR legacy shot to outer space. Do you see the way I worked a Caddy Perry joke in there? That was well done, I think. 102.4 in the middle sector for Avestigabadi. In the Red Bull. Would be mixed feelings if he won his first FVR title in the Red Bull, given he's driven for Mercedes and Ferrari, the two teams with Lewis Hamilton, the driver who he so adores. Braking at the 100 metre. Oh, that's gone very out of shape, but weirdly looks quick at the same time. Thanks, F124. Here comes Avestigabadi towards the start finish line. If this is Paul, I'll be shocked. Oh, it is as well. 1:26.1 with a ridiculously stupid line in through the Vale chicane. That's worked out quite nicely for Avestigabadi. And he has put himself in real contention here. Needs to outscore Legend by 3 points to confirm it. So if he won this race and Legend finishes second, how it has swung so many times this season, that would confirm it. Here is Milan Mazzi, who probably making his FVR debut, because he hasn't raced much this season despite being a main driver in the or B, the V-Carb, out of shape heading through the arena. 4 minutes and 49 to go here in qualifying. No, he's not actually a main driver in the or B is Milan Machi. We have Bos van Zeep as well racing tonight, but he's done a good few races. He has done a good few races, has Baz. Not too much success, I'm afraid, but he has done a good few races. Racing here in Silverstone in the past as well, of course, the Silverstone circuit on the old side of the RAF Silverstone, the old Royal Air Force Bomber Station. And I tell you what, they are going to embark on war this evening. Gobadi and Rosenberg. Look how close it is at the top. That's one thing, at least we have two drivers who are driving at their peak. It's 3 PC drivers at the top of the order, so that's consolist in one way. I know they say PC is slightly quicker. Callum Birch not continuing that trend. He's down in 12th spot, although, sorry, I stand corrected, Matthew Copsey is an Xbox driver. So he's not on PC. He is an Xbox driver, so that will, Matthew will be annoyed at me for that one. Zauber in the chat saying, if Legend doesn't win the World Drivers' Championship, I waited 2 months for nothing to send him the trophy. Well, you could still send him it from last season. As Matthew confirming that he is in fact an Xbox driver. I very much apologise, Matthew. You are an Xbox driver indeed, yeah. Well, you still could send him the trophy given he's won 6 of them. He's probably earned one by now, Zauber. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be delighted to receive the trophy for the one season. Actually, the 2 times we've handed out trophies in FVR, it has been drivers other than Legend who've won them, and it was Luke Davies, and it might be Avesta Gobadi here this evening. But 2 minutes 46 to go in qualifying. Bas van Zeep can embark on a traffic-free lap of this 5.891 Silverstone circuit. So in towards Abbey and in towards Farm. We'll do a full lap run through with one of the front runners when they go on it, but the McLaren man, just a little bit out of shape there. Rosenberg, 0.038 off Gobadi at the top of the order. And I wonder what it would mean to Avesta if he finally won an FVR title, because he comes here racing week in and week out, and I imagine it's still stuck in the back of his mind. It has to be. It would get you down the fact he hasn't done it, that he's raced for a good 12 or 13 seasons here and he's never been able to secure the title. Of course, raced for the McLaren team as well once upon a time, did Avesta Gobadi. This season he is teaming up with Tim Den Heijer in the Red Bull, although they're not really in the Constructors' fight. The FVR Constructors' fight this season is very intriguing, arguably more intriguing than the Drivers' Championship. Currently top of the Constructors. Did I say Red Bull? I'm not in it. They're leading the Constructors. That was a horrible bit of information to give you folks. They are leading the Constructors, 164, 153 then is Williams, so Yafin Penguru's lack of attendance this evening really hampering Williams' chances. Here's Bas van Zeep as he invalidated the final corner. He has not got the time in, so that is Van Zeep invalidating in the McLaren, and that's going to be his last run of the day. He won't get another lap around Silverstone, so real disappointing for Bas van Zeep. Aston Martin 157 in his third in the Constructors, and then McLaren 138, so all still well within contention as Avesta Gobadi warms up to go for a pole run around Silverstone. Made a mistake on his lap, of course, or at least it looked like a mistake. It mightn't have been a mistake, knowing this F1 game. But this Silverstone circuit, which hosted the first ever FVR race back almost 5 years ago, which makes me feel ridiculously old. But we've been here 14 times. Record pole positions is tied between Legend Rosenberg and Lewis McQuillan, but the record podiums here around Silverstone and record wins held by Avesta Gobadi. Wins is tied with Legend, so they both come in here as equal favourites, it's safe to say. For the final corner then, here comes the Ukrainian to start his qualifying lap. Rosenberg has embarked on his. We will be keeping an eye on both of them. Matthew Copsey won't be improving and repeating his miraculous Silverstone qualifying run from last season. He's made a mistake exiting the arena. Checkered flag has waved. What's Luke Davies doing? He's just embarking on his time as well. So we have the top 3 in session, all heading down the Wellington Straight, looking to take pole position. Rosenberg 27.6 in the first sector. What's Luke Davies able to achieve? We didn't quite catch it as Morris Stumer has crashed and retired. It is Gobadi 27.3, much quicker in that first sector. Here's Legend Rosenberg heading through Cops with Luke Davies right behind him. You can see they're flying in the McLaren. Might get a little bit of a tow from the 2 Alpines in front, but that is Nils Hartl and Nathan Marriott who are looking to make an impact. Rosenberg flying through Maggots, Beckers and Chappell, needs to produce one of his best here if he wants to beat Avesta Gobadi's time, and no, way down. It's not looking like today is the day for Legend Rosenberg. Avesta Gobadi, what's his middle sector going to be like? Looks a lot quicker heading through Chapel Curve, and he's still improving upon his time. Unless Rosenberg can produce magic in the final sector, he can't. He's going to finish in the pit lane. Callum Birch, whoa! Where has that come from? Callum Birch goes top of the order and might be spoiling one of his best mates' parties. 25.9. What a lap from the Haasman. Upon return to FVR, can Avesta Gobadi beat it on his crowning day? Potentially. Yes, he can. 25.7. It is another pole position at Silverstone for the Ukrainian. Birch put the spanner in the works and will start in front of Gobadi. But it is starting for the Rosenberg, I should say. But it is Avesta Gobadi who is top of the pile. 25.7, unbelievable time, and produced it when he had to. It was looking like it might have been Callum Birch's pole. It isn't, and Gobadi has produced the goods when he needed to most. So it will be a front row of Gobadi and Birch, and it will be Legend Rosenberg who starts in third position. Then it is Luke Davies, Matthew Copsey ahead of, that is Milian Matsi and Maurice Stumer. Then it is Nils Hartel, Nathan Marriott, Borbjorn, Juan Hernandez and Bas van Zeep. Folks, the British Grand Prix coming up very, very shortly.
Maybe it's my own fault. Maybe I led you to believe my highlights started on the podium and not in practice.
The Legend Rosenberg is a 4-time champion of the world.
Maybe I made you think.
Well, folks, welcome back to Silverstone. Yeah, we don't have an intro video still, so I didn't really want to put you through another minute and a half of the same commercial that you've seen about 814 times, because I haven't made a new one yet. Welcome to Silverstone. Welcome to the British Grand Prix in its 14th running in Formula Virtual Racing. This has the potential to be fabulous, as the Alpines found their slipstream tactic worked well. Let's wait and see how this British Grand Prix plays out. And Callum Birch almost taking pole position off of Vesta Gobadi, but Vesta was able to take it. That would have been Callum's third career pole. A driver who took their maiden pole at Silverstone was, of course, Liam Angelo Garrick. And if he is still watching, he won't like what I'm about to say, but he spun, heading through turn 3 on the first lap and DNF'd immediately. A fact that was brought up at White River Karting about 3 months ago. But this has potential to be a Vesta Gobadi's day. Silverstone usually produces a cracking race, so he's not going to have an easy time of it. But this could be the day where his drought and his masterpiece is finally, his drought has ended and his masterpiece is secured. 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Buckinghamshire as we go racing in Great Britain for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Good race start from Vesta Gobadi. He leads in towards turn number 1. Rosenberg going to immediately try and launch an attack on Callum Birch here, but Birch parks it on the inside, tries to dive down the inside of the Red Bull, who's ran wide. They're now free abreast, entering turn number 4 in the arena section. Rosenberg has swooped round the outside of Callum Birch, but is he going to be able to keep it? No, not quite. Doesn't have the line just yet. Gobadi tows Birch all the way down towards Brooklands, and as they head into here, it's the Haas who brakes slightly later than the Aston Martin. Legend, opting for the soft compound tyres, has finally got the job done. What could be a crucial move in this championship deciding British Grand Prix. Soft tyres for the Aston, medium tyres for the Red Bull, side by side through Copse Corner. The Britishman runs wide. It was the Dutchman on the inside this time round, and there's no disasters here. That's contact made between the man named after the corner, Matthew Copsey, who's got it done through the Chapel Curve, I should say, and gets in front of the Haasman. What a hectic race start. We're still 12 running here in the top places. Callum Birch gets back past on the medium tyres. It is mediums for Gobadi, Birch for Matsi, Marriott and Juan Hernandez in 12th position as they all settle into a rhythm. Heading on to the second lap of proceedings. 5/6 of a second is the lead gap for Vesta Gobadi as Legend Rosenberg has work to do. Matthew Copsey, he's just looking to keep with Callum Birch, who's looking to attack Legend Rosenberg. And in the early phases of this race, the Pirelli's medium compounded tyre has got fired up much quicker. It's a mistake for Rosenberg. In towards turn number 3, it's almost a mistake through turn number 4, and Callum Birch will be looking to capitalise. Here's Milian Matsi. They're going to get past the home hero, Luke Davies, the driver the British fans adore now in Formula Virtual Racing, and their most successful ever in this championship. He's not going to let the German past him that easy, but he has run a tad bit wide. Hooks in. Once again, though, he's gone for the soft compound tyres early in this race. Remember, it is a required two-stop strategy in Formula Virtual Racing now, so it's going to be the soft, medium, soft. So the medium, soft, softs would be my best estimate. Certainly the medium softs is going to be the strategy that Avesta Gobadi will be trying from the front of this race. So he's going to run long in towards the late race. Just hope that it's a better strategy than Legend Rosenberg. But this could get really interesting because they should both be on the softs come the end of this Grand Prix, and it'll be hell for leather, especially if we have a late race safety car. Rosenberg not able to get past Avesta Gobadi just yet, but 26 laps in this race. Most of them will see DRS trains such as the one we have, and now you can see Legend Rosenberg set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Bourbion, very early stop for the Sauber, and it's gone horribly wrong because he's picked up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Very disappointing for the Sauberman, who comes in for a very, very early pit stop, even with the two-stop strategies. Rosenberg trying to get under Gobadi at the front of this one. And if you look away for a moment, it seems like the gap decreases. Is there going to be a lunge in towards Brooklands? No, the Dutchman sees better as Matthew Copsey very heavy into that corner, looking from the helicopter camera. The Sauber barreling there, and if the Haas had been a couple of meters closer to him, it would have been a catastrophic collision. As you can see, Callum Birch gaining in a straight line on the Aston Martin, so burning a little bit of the ERS potentially. And in towards Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, the famous corners on this Silverstone circuit, entering the Hanger Straight, not the Chapel Straight. Hanger Straight as Legend Rosenberg is going to take the race lead for the first time in this one, gets in front of the Ukrainian, but that's to be expected. You've got to see a lot of shuffling about of the order here in Silverstone. That's just the nature of it, and Matthew Copsey wants to get involved. The British driver wants to maybe stand on the podium for the first ever time at his home circuit here in Formula Virtual Racing, for the first ever time in Formula Virtual Racing, more importantly. So here he is, down the, pops over the sausage curb on the inside of the corner. That's really jeopardised his run, and Luke Davies smells the chance of getting up to fourth place. The Williamsman is tucked into the slipstream of the Sauber. You can barely see them with the free in front, but Davies hangs it to the outside, tries the up and under. Is that going to work? No, he's forced onto the outside line for Luffield. That's not going to work in a month of Sundays, unfortunately. So we do have a yellow flag, and that's Bos van Zijp, I should say, who is gone heading through the arena. So he's 12 seconds behind the field now, and Bourbion will be liking the prospect of that, because that's going to invite him back into this race. 1/10 of a second the gap up the front, so Gobadi not letting Rosenberg get away here. Really, this race will kick off in the last sort of 6 laps. From lap 20 onwards is when we really have to pay attention to the manoeuvres they're making, because up until that point it's all going to be high-speed chess, and you can see Gobadi now feels it's best for him to lead in this race, but there's a little bit of contact made between the two, and even if you want high-speed chess, sometimes your pawns might make a collision, and certainly there was a little nick between the Aston Martin and the Red Bull, both very good friends, but for the next 40 minutes or so, fierce rivals. Gobadi wants to seal his first ever Formula Virtual Racing title. Rosenberg wants to give himself a fighting chance of his 7th. Callum Birch looking for the move down the inside. Won't happen at this time of asking. As here they go down the Wellington Straight once again. No position swap, but Callum Birch was looking for it. A little bit further back, Van Zijp has just come into the pit lane, and now Davies has got past Copsey, but that involves Callum Birch, and there's contact made between the three of them, and Callum Birch is a little bit desynced here, so hopefully that doesn't cause any collisions. Luke Davies has burned a lot of battery, and now you can see Birch just pop back in. He might look for the move here down the inside of Matthew Copsey. No, it would be ridiculous to go for the move on the man who shares a name with the corner. He's now going to go for it in towards Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, and the Haas is back ahead, but 2-horse race at the front of this one. Callum Birch has got to get on that battery button ASAP and try get back within the DRS, because he's not within the DRS. That's going to force the whole field back. Thankfully, he has just burned the battery a little bit, and he will catch up to both Rosenberg and Avesta Gobadi. A reminder of what's at stake here today, folks, and that is a championship, but we say it enough, you You don't need to be reminded again. 139 points for the Ukrainian, 137 for Legend Rosenberg. So if it was to stay as it is, the championship would go on. If the front two were to swap, it would be over. And Avesta Gobadi would win the world title for the first ever time. Rosenberg needs to win here today, pretty much, because you can't really see anyone other than himself or Avesta winning this one. And if Avesta was to be the one who wins it, that would be it. It would be over. And Avesta Gobadi is through once again on lap 6 of 26. He's up ahead and into first place, so very nice move indeed. You can see 5 cars in the leader train now. Niels Hartl just not able to keep pace in that Alpine, and himself and Nathan Marriott are falling back in 6th and 7th. But 6th and 7th, still a great result for Alpine, still great points, given some of the talent on offer in this field. Not in the constructors' fight, but certainly would help elevate them towards moving up a place or two. Rosenberg right to the slipstream once again. Not going to be able to get ahead of Avesta Gobadi at this time of asking. Callum Birch right behind Legend Rosenberg. All these three, of course, race together on different racing platforms, but they are rivals for now, and they are lapping at ferocious speed. We're already at the 7th lap of proceedings here at this British Grand Prix, and we're going to start seeing some pit stops soon. Remember, 2-stop strategy is required in Formula Virtual Racing now, so they've got to pit twice, and we've had our 4th car come into the pit lane. That's Maurice Stumer, who ran a very steady first stint, so still has a fighting chance in this race, maybe picking up some big points. Singapore wasn't the greatest run for Maurice last week. He was hit a couple times in the dying stages by me, but would say nothing. He didn't report me, so no one saw it. And yeah, it wasn't the greatest run for Maurice. Got a 9th place finish. Currently runs 9th, but has made his mandatory pit stop and is now on, or even my brain isn't coded to the rules of FVR anymore. Has made his first of 2 mandatory pit stops, so he is still in with a chance here of an undercut. Is anyone going to pop out of line? Yes, they are. Legend Rosenberg's going to pop out of line, as is Callum Birch, but this is a lot more risky for Birch, who does get it done. So Gobadi goes from 1st to 3rd. Legend now obviously feels that he's on his first of 2 soft tyre stints, and he's not really made much of an impact on this race. Needs to start trying to pull away ahead of the 2 cars behind him, and maybe pull a little bit of a gap for the pit stop phases, but that's going to be so hard to do, given the amount of DRS zones and slipstream opportunities there is at this circuit. It's going to be very difficult to pull a gap of such nature, but he's going to try it anyways, and that is what he needs to do. Matthew Copsey running a great race here so far, as is Luke Davies. They're both on the softs as well, so they'll follow the Rosenberg strategy. Callum Birch and Avesta driving really well here, and Callum Birch, as a matter of fact, now leads the British Grand Prix for the first time this evening, and it is, dare I say, a first time ever leading at Silverstone for Callum Birch, but I could be wrong with that one. He's doing a stellar job and is up ahead of the Aston Martin in 2nd. Avesta Gobadi in 3rd now. Then it is Matthew Copsey, Luke Davies, Nathan Marriott, Niels Hartl, so the 2 Alpines have swapped. And Antoine Hernandez in 8th, and our 4 pitters so far, Maurice Stumer, Milion Matzi. Then it is Borbjörn and Bas van Zijp in 12th position, who of course had a spin, and has been our only man to make a mistake so far in the 8 laps of action at the FVR Season 15 British Grand Prix. Callum Birch is your race leader, and Avesta Gobadi is going to look to try and make it 2nd, but is that going to be before Legend Rosenberg tries to make it 1st, round the outside through Stowe? That doesn't really work, and it has not worked on this occasion. Gobadi pulls out of line. It was almost like he was blocking the entry to the pit lane for Legend Rosenberg, but Legend plans to continue. So Niels Hartl has come in for service, and he's in 7th position. Be interesting to see where the German comes out of the pit lane. Of course, is in sort of that battle with Maurice Stumer, maybe Milion Matzi. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think he's going to get out way ahead of both, actually. Might be under pressure from Maurice, but certainly won't be under pressure from Milion Matzi. And Avestigobadi is actually being attacked currently by Matthew Copsey. So Copsey doesn't have a care in the world for the championship fight. He wants to pick up a good result in Formula Virtual Racing. And what a result it would be for the Kick Sauber team. Of course, Borbune has been doing his absolute best to try and get some good results for that car this season, but has struggled at times, I think it's safe to say. And Matthew Copsey, what a result it would be if he could get maybe a podium even for that Sauber team. Really would be impressive, but a lot of work to do, of course. He's got 3 of the quickest drivers FVR has ever seen, well, certainly 2 of the quickest, and then Callum Birch has been a real front runner since the second he joined the league. And look at this straight line speed gain for Vesting-O'Mahony. The closing speed on that Haas was ridiculous. There's contact made between the championship protagonists, and the Red Bull is sent across the exit of Stowe, falls in behind Legend Rosenberg, but things got antsy for a moment. And that was the Haasman, that was the Red Bullman off the circuit behind the Aston Martin, so real close between the pair. Juan Hernandez is ahead of Nathan Marriott. That's because Marriott is into the pit lane, actually. So, second Alpine is into the pit lane. And that will be both of them completing one of the 2 mandatory pit stops. It's a split strategy for Alpine, which I suppose covers all bases, doesn't it? Because if one strategy is an absolute disaster, they still have a second car. That's on a good one. More teams should do that. Certainly in sim racing, it is a clever approach. As here comes Vestigobadi, looking to try and get past Legend Rose. Oh, look at this! These 2 are really going elbows out. Look at this. That was a vicious, aggressive defensive manoeuvre from Legend Rosenberg. And front 2, both in, front 4 in, apart from Vestigobadi. Disaster strikes for Callum Birch. 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. The Haasman has had an absolute disaster upon pit entry, and he will have to serve that penalty upon his second pit stop today. He doesn't get the option of removing that post-race because he will have to serve it on his second stop. Absolute disaster for the Haasman. Puts on a second set of medium tyres. They're all gone for the mediums, so it will be medium, soft. And that means Birch will be going for softs at the end of the race, but it will be 10 seconds behind wherever he enters the pit lane in, because he has got that speeding in the pit lane penalty. And Milion Matzi with the same fate, and Million's gone for the hards. Something tells me he didn't know you had to pit twice. Or maybe he did and he's just quick to anger. Could be both. Could definitely be both. So, Rosenberg, Rosenberg really struggling. What's happened to Legend? What has happened to Legend? Because he's 1.6 seconds behind Callum Birch all of a sudden. I'm going to hop onto Luke Davies' stream on my phone and try to find out what happened to Legend, because that's a very rare sort of time loss for the 6-time world champion. And something has definitely happened, because you don't just lose time out of nowhere. Let's have a look and see. Does Luke's stream tell the tale? It may well do. So they came out of the pit lane. No, I think that could have always been the gap for some reason as Avesta comes in. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out. Matthew Copsey was certainly struggling with the rears upon leaving the pit lane. No, I think that was just the buffer. So there's Vestigobadi. Here's Callum Birch rounding for the final corner, and even if he does have a 10-second time penalty, he can still make a big difference in this race. Gobadi on a second set of the softs. He'll go for mediums at the end. Is trundling out of the pit lane. You can see the Red Bull upon the exit here. There's his championship rival, Legend Rosenberg, and look how close they are. Out on circuit, almost rear wheel to front wing, heading through turn number 3. They're all bunching up once again. Callum Birch a significant lead in this Grand Prix by 1.3 seconds, which I know doesn't sound sound a lot, but in Silverstone Formula Virtual Racing, since all the way back in Season 2 and 3, that is a significant margin. Rosenberg, no penalty. Gobadi, no penalty. Birch does have that penalty, so that will drop him behind this whole gaggle of cars. And if you're Matthew Copsey, you're going to be licking your lips at the opportunity here of potentially standing on an FVR podium, because Ford has been running better than Luke today so far and does not have that penalty. So there's a big opportunity here for Matthew Copsey to take his second FVR podium. Took one, of course, in Monaco last season. It would be his first podium at Silverstone, though, so that would mean a lot for the Brit. British drivers have not really ran well at Silverstone. I know Luke Davies had that masterclass in the Mercedes when Thomas Main had an absolute disaster, his teammate. But he's never won this race. Would love to win it, I'm sure, would Luke, but has never won this race. Lewis McWilliam won this race. But of course he is Scottish, so wouldn't really like me saying this is home Grand Prix. Luke Davies shushing the haters. Fastest lap of the race for the Williamsman. And he obviously would like to take another podium. He's got quite a few podiums this season, as Luke Davies. It's been a really good season for him, to be honest. He's not stood on the podium only twice this season, and he now dives down the inside of Matthew Copsey, so he wants to keep this podium run going. Only missed the podium in Austria and the Netherlands, has got 6 out of 8 this season, and now you can see him alongside the Sauber here heading towards Cobb's Corner. Tries to minimise his run on the old start-finish straight. Is he going to stick it around the outside and brave it out? Doesn't have to brave it out because Matthew has backed out through Copse. And Luke Davies is in front in 4th place. Obviously, this is realistically the fight for the podium as we're at the halfway point for this British Grand Prix. As it stands, Avesta would not be crowned champion. He needs to outscore Legend by more than 3. And now they're side by side, heading through Stowe. Gobadi's a long way about it. Gets it done. Is on significantly better tyres, remember, than Callum Birch. And I wonder is Birch going to act as rear gunner here in the Haas? He could well do. Fastest lap of the race for Avesta. So that gives him an extra point, of course. Extra point for the fastest lap anywhere on the grid. Once you finish the race, so even if you're in 11th and you do get the fastest lap, you do still get the point. It's different to F1. Well, I mean, it's different to F1 totally now, because F1 got rid of the fastest lap point. For whatever reason, I'm not too sure, but they got rid of it, weirdly enough. As Avesta Gobadi 0.2 of a second in front of Callum Birch, so not under any pressure on this occasion. It's interesting to see Avesta go for a unique strategy on what could be a deciding race for him. He's obviously more comfortable on the medium tyres and feels they'll be better towards the end of the race. Obviously fancies the undercut as well, because he will be pitting earlier than Birch, Rosenberg, Davies and Copsey. You would like to think so. Here is the two Alpines running in unison, and it's been a very steady race for the French outfit here on British soil so far. 6th and 7th, they've been there since what feels like the start of qualifying, and they are just running at a very, very similar pace. Not going to be fighting until maybe the last stint. Don't want to lose big points. In terms of the Constructors' Championship for Alpine, they do lie in 5th. There is still the potential of beating McLaren, who of course will not be scoring points today as it stands, and Alpine will be getting not quite the 33 points they are behind them in the championship for 6th and 7th, but you never know what could happen next week in Australia. There is, they do want to, well, they don't need to defend from Ferrari behind because the gap is about 50 points. So Alpine are in no man's land, both in this race and in the Constructors' Championship. I tried to hype it up, French fans. I tried, but you are in a mist of nothing this season. And fair play to Nathan and Nils for still showing up, because that's what the league needs to survive. Committed drivers who are racing for good results rather than points, so they still show up each week. 1.9 is the gap as Legend has fallen to 5th. While we were waffling on about Alpine, has Legend just made another mistake? Because the gap is now 2 seconds between Avesta Gobadi and Luke Davies, who's in 3rd. Rosenberg is now in 5th. As the wise Eric Ten Hag once said, all eras must come to an end. It's starting to feel like the beginning of the end here at Silverstone. As Davies gets overtaken by Matthew Copsey, he thought he put the legend, or he put the Lewis McWilliam era to end, did Luke Davies. There's nothing he can do about the Legend Rosenberg era, but there's been nothing that very few could do about the Legend Rosenberg era and about his pace. It's the perfect moment, though, to go get yourself a nice bag of popcorn, a nice cup of tea, because history might be being witnessed in about 20 minutes' time. Because this is all going silky smooth for Vestager Badi, and this could be his crowning moment. What a moment it would be, what a moment in time if Vestager Badi did become FVR champion. After fighting all the way since Season 2, he has overcome some hurdles in his career, but we will wait to talk about them afterwards. So, lap 16 of 26, Nils Hartl, Nils picking up a penalty. So that will hurt his chances as Matthew Copsey is now on the podium, in the podium placings. This battle for third is going to be between Copsey and Davies, because Callum Birch is not pulling enough. He'll be about 7 seconds behind the same tyres. Which he might be able to close in, but the fact that Luke and Matthew will have DRS makes me think that he won't be able to. But still, his pace has been very good, and you can see the pace of the front two is gaining. Let's ride on board with Luke Davies then, heading in towards the middle sector, and let's just see what he can do. Where is he going to make the difference on Copsey? Okay, so just going off that, Luke is not great on the exit of Luffield, but Matthew is not great for Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, so it is evening out as Legend has Legend disconnected and we just don't know. There's no way he's just been gapped 2 seconds by Luke Davies and Matthew Copsey. Has Legend disconnected from this race and this championship is pretty much over? As Luke got the move done and then comes into the pit lane. I think Legend is disconnected. I think that might be what's happened. Because there's no way he's not, like, with the class he has, there's no way he's not gaining. Unless he's having some form of hardware or software issues. I'm just looking at the point where he dropped behind Davies on Luke's stream, but nothing irregular so far. Luke just got the move done naturally, and it seemed like Legend has just lost all form of pace. It seems like the 6-time world champion is just not able to compete here. He's just making mistakes because Matthew Copsey is gaining on the Dutchman, unless anyone watching along the stream knows what happened. Yeah, Legend is not having a good time of things here at Silverstone. As Luke is into the pit lane. Or was in the pit lane, I should say, and is now in 8th position. He's out! He's out! That's it! Legend Rosenberg is out of the British Grand Prix. Come the next few laps' time, when the points are confirmed, Avestigobadi will be world champion for the first time. What has Legends? What has happened to him? I do not know, but that was not a crash on track. The era has ended. The dynasty is over. Legend will not retain his championship. But it's happened mid-race. It has been a disastrous British Grand Prix. And I don't still have the graphic, but there was one asking, would the dominance ever end? It will. It will, is the answer. It's going to. This race still, like, it's not officially over just yet, because Avesta could still also DNF and score no points, but as of now, if he just drives smooth to the finish, it will be a world title for Avestigobadi. Juan Hernandez is somehow in fourth in this race. I'm aware he's very much off strategy, but the Mercedesman has done what he's done throughout his FVR career and just sneaks into good positions. He snuck into second in the championship, God knows how many times at this stage in seasons. He won't be second this time, but Juan Hernandez doing I'm not going to say stellar job, because even by his own standards he won't think this is a stellar job, but he's done an alright job. So far today, it's going to be soft tyres from now until the end. And where's Matthew Copsey going to come out in relation to Luke Davies, most crucially? Avestigobadi's going to be clear at the front. There's Luke Davies heading through turn number 1, so Luke's got a cracking undercut on Matthew here, and he will be in front. But Matthew Copsey will have the better tyres until the end of this race, but I think it's almost confirmed, unless he makes a mistake himself, that Luke Davies is going to have 7 out of 9 podiums this season, which is incredible consistency, and really is the reason that he will be a comfortable runner-up in the championship, might even get second at this point in the championship, and that would really put the nail in the Rosenberg coffin. It really would. 2.8 seconds, the gap between Luke Davies and Avestigobadi. I wonder will the nerves start kicking in for Avesta just yet, when he knows what is now happening. I mean, the gap is coming down. I'm not reactionary by any stretch of the imagination, but the gap is coming down. Just a reminder, folks, of what we might be seeing in the next 6 laps, and that will be the man at the top of that graphic. Avestigobadi winning his first ever Formula Virtual Racing World title. If he completes the race, he will be crowned champion, as Legend Rosenberg is not going to score any points in this one, and will not be able to mathematically outscore Avesta next week in Albert Park. Kyle Albert Park, as we like to call it here in Formula Virtual Racing. Luke Davies is going to gain significant points in the constructors on Aston Martin, certainly. So Aston has probably lost both titles this season, although Avesta, of course, has been Legend, I should say, has been a pretty lone soldier in that regard. As Van Zype, 3-second time penalty, disappointing. Very disappointing for Bass, who currently sits 33 seconds back on the hard tyres, so it really has been a bit of a disaster. Nathan Marriott 0.6 of a second behind Callum Birch, so I know I was slagging earlier and saying the Alpines are in a midst of nothing in this race, but with good pace and good strategy, Nathan Marriott has put himself in a fighting chance for 4th. He's going to try to keep with Birch for the remainder of this one, as difficult as that will be. Is Avesta. This really is Just putting the icing on what's going to be a very tasty cake come 5 laps time. That's Nathan slides it out of the final corner. Let's keep an eye on the Alpine and the Haas. The gaps up the front are all very large all of a sudden in what's been such a close race. Lap 22 of 26, and it is looking very, very scarce and up the front. The fans still enjoying it. You can see them cheering in the background. And I tell you what, it's going to be one of the more successful British Grand Prix for Britain, because they're going to have 2 drivers on the podium here. I think no matter what happens, because Luke Davies, Matthew Copsey, Callum Birch, Nathan Marriott, from 2nd to 5th, it is all British drivers. And then it's Neil Tardle, Murray, Stumer, and not Baz Van Zype, sorry, it was Emilian Matzi, who was the other German, and they, of course, have all, Emilian has DNF'd. Nils and Murray's fond memories of this circuit. They made their FVR debut here and both stood on the podium in that race. Who won that one by the tune of almost 30 seconds? It was this man, Avestegobadi. That's Callum Birch and Nathan Marriott fighting. Here comes Birch. Gets the job done on Nathan Marriott, but Marriott is sticking with the Haas here and is going to have a go. He's going to have a go as Nathan Marriott stays in front, or Nathan Marriott stays behind, I should say. 1/10 of a second between the two. And this is going to be the fight for Callum Birch. There's no way he's going to catch 7.5 seconds to finish on the podium, and slides the rear. Very eager to get on the power is Callum Birch. That's sort of been the theme of his FVR career so far. So close but so far for Callum Birch. Makes a lot of unforced errors, and that's what hurts him, his race-winning chances time and time again. Baz Van Zype, poor Baz Van Zype. It just keeps getting worse. 3-second penalty. He's going to finish 39 seconds behind 9th place and get a point, which I think is even better because he's in 10th. Low attendance does mean you are likely to still get points even if you had a howler. I know all about that from last week's race in Singapore, but Baz Van Zype, yeah. He's still running around, ticking laps, and that's, I suppose, what you got to do. .6 seconds is now the lead for Avestegobadi, and he's going to just be in the rhythm now. The rhythm of this season, the season that looked like no one else was going to win it. And Avestegobadi, if he can just complete the next 2.5 laps of this racetrack in Silverstone that he knows like the back of his hand, it's going to be his 5th career win here, and it's going to be his 7th career podium here in Formula Virtual Racing. He will be crowned champion. Luke Davies then in 2nd. It's going to be his 7th podium in 9 races this season. He'll be looking for 8 and 10 next week. And the thing is, he got 2 4th places in those other races, so it's not like they were absolute howlers. He has been very consistent and quite unlucky, maybe some could say, to not actually clean sweep a podium this season. Borbune's pit for the fastest lap. Matthew Copsey looking for a 2nd ever FVR podium, and these guys are looking for 4th place. Not Borbune, Nathan Marriott and Callum Birch. Here comes Nathan Marriott looking for the outside, and he has got the job done on Callum Birch, and Birch will have to try and fight back here for the final 2 laps. We'll be looking for the slipstream in towards Stowe on the last lap of this race, but I think this battle will continue on a lot more until then. Here they are through turn number 1, heading in towards turn number 3, and Nathan Marriott is still ahead. 5.9 seconds now. Every time we check on him, he's dumped another second on Luke Davies. And Avestigobadi is in the lead of this one. Let's ride on board with Nathan Marriott, then heading through Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, and just see how close the Alpine gets before the 770 metre hanger straight. Here he comes. Is he going to go for it? No, stays behind. So Nathan Marriott wants that slipstream on the last lap. And that's probably the clever decision. Probably the clever decision for Nathan Marriott. But that gap has grown to 10 seconds between himself and Matthew Copsey, which really is quite something. So Luke and Matthew, even when not running in slipstream with one another, they have been running very well. They have been running very, very smooth, and it's going to be a well-earned victory for them. Here he is then, heading through Copse Corner for the final time. Here's Avestigobadi of Red Bull Racing, and as much as at times that isn't his favourite thing in the world, it is going to be the successful partnership. This adventure has lasted just under 5 years for Avestigobadi, and he has overcome adversity, and that is an understatement. When seasons looked his, factors outside of his control have damaged them. For him, it's been a fight beyond sim racing. But now, in season 15, it is his time to shine. Slavy Ukrainia, the fighter from the country of determined fighters, has conquered his kryptonite. He has done what seemed impossible. He is the Formula Virtual Racing champion of the world for the first ever time. Everybody said he would never do it, and just like those who he stands arm in arm with at home, he has achieved something that they said they never could do. Avestigobadi is champion of the world. It has taken 14 seasons to do. He's done it. He is champion for the first time. The Legend Rosenberg dominance has ended, and for the first time since Luke Davies did it on that night in Abu Dhabi, he is the Drivers' Champion with a race to spare. Rosenberg won 5 races on the bounce at the start of the season, and Legend Rosenberg, and Avestigobadi, I should say, has defeated him. What an achievement for the Ukrainian. What an achievement. Luke Davies comes home second. It is a 7th podium in 9 races for Luke. Matthew Copsey will take his 2nd ever FVR podium, and Callum Birch will come home in 4th, and Nathan Marriott in 5th. And it was Niels Hartl. Juan Hernandez is DNF'd in the last lap, so no points for Juan. Borbu, or he might actually get points. I can't remember whatever rule we introduced. Borbu 9th, Baz van Zijp 10th. Avestigobadi is your Season 15 FVR World Drivers' Champion. There he is then, Avestigobadi, your FVR Drivers' Champion, and what an achievement that is. He is race winner and Drivers' Champ. Took the fastest lap as well, so the maximum points. Luke Davies in 2nd, Matthew Copsey in 3rd. Podium for Sauber, and what's been an utter terrible season for them, so that's a highlight. Callum Birch then 4th, and it is Nathan Marriott, Niels Hartl, Murray Stumer, Bor Bune, Juan Hernandez, Baz van Zijp, Legend Rosenberg, and Milion Matzi, who rounds us out. I don't think we've done interviews in quite some time. I'm surprised I I even have the graphic updated, but let's hear from second place Luke Davies, who has immediately left us. Let's hear from the world champion. Avesta Gobadi, for the first ever time, we can officially call you Drivers' World Champion. It has been a long time coming. Talk to us how you feel.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know. I just realized that I
We
didn't pay
get rid of
attention to
Legend as a
the
champion,
standings.
and we still
But
have someone who doesn't know what to say. Fantastic.
yeah, finally, huh? I expected it to be sooner, but better late than never. I'm I'm speechless, to be honest. Finally.
Better late than ever. Today was pretty perfect from you. A fabulous lap to take pole position and then dominate out at the front. Were you expecting Were you expecting it to be as easy in the end?
Well, I knew I had pace because I could tell from quality I set up point 0.7 with a horrible lap with used tires because I wanted 2 new softs for the race. So I knew the pace was there. I just had to not get any warnings, not get into crazy fights. Just just finish. And it was scenarios that helped me a lot, like Callum got penalty and Legend left, which was very unfortunate for both of them. But yeah, I mean, finally it played for the better for me.
Yeah, you've kind of not had much luck in FVR ever up until this season, but a little bit of the rub of the green has helped. Now that you have one under your belt, can you go on a run like Legend and maybe win a couple more?
Well, yeah, it'll be good, but it all depends on the future games, how they handle, how they feel, and if the field will also, depending on the drivers, if they get stronger or worse. It will everything depend on that. But I put a lot of practice into this game, even though it's not the most, well, let's say that not the most famous game for a good manner, but I put a lot of practice nonetheless, and I think it paid off.
Any any final things you'd like to say while you're here then? Because we don't do interviews very regularly nowadays.
Yeah, I miss this interviews. I just wanna say thanks to all the organizers and to you for making this league possible. And I don't know since when I joined this league. I think it was season 2 or something. But yeah, I was just getting better and better, and the competition was also getting better and better. It was really fun. And reaching to this point, I honestly practiced really hard, but I want to find excuses why they couldn't win before, but it's racing. That's how it goes. And yeah, just put the work and it will happen. It will work out.
Vesta, fantastic words to round out the interview. Congratulations, you are the Drivers' World Champion.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And now over to second place, Luke Davies, who's been mighty consistent this season. Luke, 7 podiums in 9 races and another great drive today.
Yeah, it was a great race, to be honest. But yeah, firstly, congratulations to Vesta. I know how long he's waited for it. He's been here longer than me, and it's over 4 years now. So, yeah, obviously it's not like the most no, it's not the most glamorous way to win this one. No crazy title fight, but it's still a championship, and yeah, massive well done to him. So, but yeah, this race was it's probably the most comfortable I felt in this game because obviously the pace hasn't been there in previous seasons races whatever, but I qualified fourth, and until Vesta set that last lap I was quite close to pole. I was in and around. I'm sure Legend could have gone better time, but I think I beat Legend, or I was close to him. Callum, everyone. So yeah, I felt really strong. And yeah, in the race, same again. Yeah, just really comfortable in the car. It was a bit annoying because I managed to I got past Matthew, and then Legend just for some reason went into none for like 3/4 of a lap, and then lost the DRS, and then that was that. But I did feel like I could have won the race today if everything played up pretty perfectly, but just unfortunately it hasn't this game cycle. Obviously, I'm still waiting for the win, but yeah, I felt like it could have come today. But yeah, again, just couldn't match Avesta's pace on the final stint. But maybe with DRS, because we all know how strong it is. If I had the DRS, maybe I could have hung on and worked some magic. But yeah, I mean, yeah, seven. You said 7 podiums in 9 races. I think it's probably my best season for consistency. Just missing the win. That's the only thing. But yeah, it's more podiums than I got in both the championship winning seasons. So it's not my best ever in terms of the number, but there were more races back then. So I mean, this is I think my second best season in terms of podiums. So this is probably my most consistent ever season, which is pretty insane. So yeah, I have to give myself a pat on the back for that, and still not done yet for Williams and the constructors. I think we're a bit way back now, but you never know. Final round, we'll see.
Yeah, you mentioned the constructors, and you also mentioned the fact that you haven't won a race this season. But one positive that could come from tonight is you might still get runner-up in the Drivers' Championship come Australia, because of course Legend we don't think can make it anyways. You're definitely up there. Will that be a goal for you as well as focusing on the constructors with Yathan, of course?
I mean, yeah, second's better than third, but to be honest, I'm really. I mean, there's a good chance I finish second in the drivers, and then we finish second in the constructors as well. So, you know, no one remembers second. Like, again, if something crazy happened today and Avesta finished in like 5th or lower and I won, then I could, in theory, have won the drivers as well. I mean, even I, to myself, went under the radar. But I looked at the standings. I was like, wait a minute, I'm only 1 win behind. So, you know, I mean, going into the season, I would have taken this every single day of the week. Like I think I had 3 podiums last season, and I know the competition hasn't been as strong, but at the top end, I still had to beat some good drivers, and I'm proud of myself for that. I didn't think I could do on this game, so but yeah, I mean, of course, if Legend's like not there, I think I only need like 9th or 8th or something to beat him. So yeah, it's a bonus, but you know, when the guy wins 4 races out of 4 in the first 4, and then just, you know, I don't know. Not that he didn't care this season, but he manual retired. So today, so clearly he had no real drive to. I guess he was second, and he knew he'd be second. So that's, I guess, he only races for first, but that's a weakness sometimes as well. So yeah, I mean, it'd be nice, but you know, it's if I'm not first, I'm not going to shout about it, and. So yeah, I'll do everything. Jan will be back next week, so hopefully we can do our bit and have a good race and win the constructors for Williams.
Luke and Avesta, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we are going to have to leave it there before the whole live stream dies due to my laptop overheating, but we'll say nothing. It's gone all right so far. Thank you very much, and a big congratulations to our new world champion, of course. Tune in next week if we do have a stream for the season finale of the FVR Season 15 in what's turned out to be quite an interesting season. We have a new champion for the first ever time, something that we haven't had since Luke Davies all those years ago, literally years at this point. Folks, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Maybe it's my own fault. Maybe I led you to believe my highlights started on the podium and not in practice.
The Legend Rosenberg is a 4-time champion of the world.
Maybe I made you think that every race I did, I won.
2 litres in the tank for Legend Rosenberg, rounding for the final corner. Does the greatest who ever do it, but if he doesn't, Scotson David steals it at the yard of bricks.
Maybe it's my fault that you think I'm unbeatable. Maybe I led you to believe that championships were given to me and not something I worked for every single day. Maybe I destroyed the league, or maybe you're just making excuses. Maybe you can beat me. Come and try.